Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third ever SmashBoxxTV podcast. I'm Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. Joined here in studio, our producer and man behind the scenes that knows everything about all technology.
Everything, anything you want to know, just ask me. Just
Jonny,
tweet me.
Jonny V. So if you've got a question about your Windows 95,
Windows for work groups 311,
whatever it is that you need, Jonny V is here. He is the man. We've got a great show for you guys lined up this week. We've got, we are returning segment with Dana Vichy. He'll be back here giving us some news and some details from around the tour. And we got a bunch of other good things lined up, including our main featured guest, the 2010 world champion, Eric McCabe. And we're excited to have him on the show. If there's anything that anyone knows about disc golf, it's certainly Eric McCabe.
You're going to want to kill the sound on your computer.
Oh, hey, there we go.
As much as everyone likes hearing us multiple times, that's not...
No, I'm not sure they do. So with that being said, real quick, we'll run down what we see here as our lineup here for tonight. We're going to talk about some event updates again with Dana Vichy. News around the sport. We're going to have our interview with Eric McCabe. We'll talk about some stuff on social media. We'll have our weekly picks, which could be anything disc golf related or otherwise.
Yep.
And we got a show note in here. I think we're learning.
We're learning. We added a note here, so let everybody know, in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, there's that little gear if you're watching us live or even after the fact. Make sure to turn the resolution up to 720p if you want, if you have the bandwidth for it. Otherwise, if you're watching us on Chromecast or anything like that, I don't think you need to. But if you're watching us live, hit the gear, turn us up to 720p, see us in all our glory.
Yeah, and so what happens there, and this is really a good tip for, especially when we're out in the field covering a live event.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens, your bandwidth will be detected, and it won't necessarily bring it in its highest quality, so you might see us or the disc golf actually taking place in like 360 or 480. Again, right away, bump that up to 720.
For sure.
And it'll make things a lot more clear for you at home.
Yeah.
All right, so with that being said, again, thank you guys for tuning in and checking it out. Of course, we appreciate any and all feedback. We're continuing to get messages as they come in.
Yeah.
We want you to interact with us. We've got a couple guys on the chat board already, Kyle Deurzen, Matt Oswald. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to get as many people as we can. And we also got to remember to say, go out and tweet.
Yeah, share it
with your friends.
Yeah, share it wherever you want, Facebook, Twitter, and let's try to get us a lot more viewers. And if you could actually get out there, and even if you watch it live, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Just, we'd like to see our numbers bumped up, even if they're artificially. I don't care.
Yeah, and then we'll get all these millions of dollars in sponsorship.
Yeah, lots and lots of sponsorship. I heard Nike's just waiting for those numbers to come up.
With bated breath, they're sitting there waiting. And you never know, with enough sponsorship, you could bring us to your neighborhood.
Yeah, we could very easily do a podcast from anywhere. We could do it on the road. We could come to your house. We could come to your school.
Yeah, that would. I don't know about that. That'd be a little scary.
Creepy.
All right, so with that being said, in just a few moments here, we're going to dial up Dana. One of the pieces of feedback that we got last week in bringing Dana onto the show, and we really enjoyed having him, but one of the main pieces of feedback was they could have done without seeing him via Skype.
He was a little. We had some complaints. There was a little bit of we had some scared children.
Some people actually said, "Can I turn down the resolution so that it was a little more?"
So it was a little more blurry. To see Dana.
Oh, we're just kidding, Dana.
No, Dana's on the road right now. He's on his way down to St. Louis, I believe, for an event.
He's actually headed to Asheville, North Carolina. Ultimately, but I believe he's making a pit stop, halfway through or something like that. Him and his
going for the night.
His wonderful professional playing wife Ashley. They're in the car. And so here in just a moment, we're going to pull up Dana Vichy, and he's going to help us give us the kind of the week in review by the numbers.
All right, let's play our little thing here, and we'll kick it over to Dana.
Wow, what an entrance!
Wow.
Thank you guys.
Well,
boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's our intro. We have Dana. You haven't seen this yet, but we have a new intro for you. AJ Risley created it, so we thank AJ. We're gonna hopefully, if you like that, we'll get more of them. And so, how are you doing, Dana? Where are you at right now?
About 15, 20 minutes outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Heading to my good friend John Bryant's house. We're gonna spend the night there before continuing on to Asheville tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, that sounds good. How's the weather and the traffic and everything else this time of night?
Pretty smooth sailing. Just pulled over to let my lovely wife finish the drive off so I could be focused and talk to you and my thousands and thousands of fans out there.
Yeah, I think you have like 1,100 or 1,009 according to your Facebook page. But so would it be fair to say by what you just told us that your wife drives better than you do? And is that on the disc golf course, or is that only on the highway?
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
guys.
Didn't we have some disc golf tournaments to talk about from last weekend?
I guess we do, and you are the man.
Go ahead, Dana.
Let's get to it.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, no surprise out in Phoenix. They had women's only tournament, the Phoenix Ladies Open. Jonny, tell me who you think won.
If it's Phoenix, Arizona, and it's a ladies only event, my guess is that Katrina probably won.
Oh, yeah. She definitely won, and then she played again on Sunday in a C tier that David Feldberg played in, and Feldberg also won. But, yep, Katrina doubled up over the weekend, so that's 2 more to her season tally.
Yeah, that puts her at 29 then,
29
I think, for the season.
She told us earlier she gets to 30, she's going to maybe get a bonus over at Prodigy. So I know she's working toward that pretty hard, and her chances have gotten that much better with, I think, 3 events to go.
Yeah,
so.
3. I think she can probably take 1 out of 3 coming up.
Best of luck to you, Katrina. Would you, real quick, Dana, would you say she got a little bit of the SmashBoxxTV bump there, huh? Maybe picking up another win after being a guest of ours?
Yeah, you know what? I'm definitely going to credit those last 2 wins to SmashBoxxTV.
All right, good job, Dana.
I don't think she needed the bump. If she got it, I don't know if you could even tell.
All right, what else you got, buddy?
Yeah. We also had some action down at the International Disc Golf Center, the 7th annual Pam V. Childs Memorial, which was presented by Innova Champion Discs. That's like I said, that's the 7th annual, and it's a fundraiser tournament for the Ronald McDonald Foundation. And so with that tournament, we had a 3-way tie for first place at the end of regulation between Josh Childs, Kevin McCoy, and the PDGA's own Mike Downs.
Oh, very nice.
So when it was all said and done, Josh Childs ended up winning the tournament that they're playing in his mother's name. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That's extra special for him. And real briefly, I got to interject. Be careful what you say here, Dana. It looks like Kevin McCoy has actually just jumped onto the message board as well.
I think he's spying. He wants to hear his shout out. He wants to hear his name out there. So how did things end up after the 3-way tie?
Well, his ears must be ringing, because I was planning on talking about the one and only Kevin McCoy being a member of the 100 PDGA wins in the Open Division Club.
And there can't be too many of those, and that's got to be some hard stat keeping, because I know prior to 99 or 2000 ish, all the stats aren't certainly entered onto the PDGA database just yet. But who's in that elite club?
Well, he is in that club with a number of disc golf legends, including, no surprise, Ken Climo, Barry Schultz, a few other names on there. Mike Mosier, a good friend of mine from Delaware. He's that guy's a machine with the AVR. He's been winning tournaments for so long. I'm surprised he doesn't have 200 wins yet, but he may before it's all said and done. Also joining him, California legend Jeff. Is it Lissaman or Lysaman?
Yeah, Jeff
the Lissaman brothers. Yes.
And then we have Mitch McClellan from Oklahoma. I believe we still see his name popping up down in Oklahoma and Texas, but he also has 100 wins. And then Jonny McCrae. Jonny McCrae is also on there, and Jonny actually racked up another win this weekend down at a V-tier in Florida.
No. You know,
So,
I'm kind of surprised to see Jonny on this list, only because being down from Florida, he's always probably competing with Kenny, and I could see Kenny eating up a lot of those wins.
Yeah, well, I've talked to Jonny in the past. He has been playing just about every weekend for so many years now, and obviously him and, you're right, Kenny have been going back and forth for many years. Kenny was more likely to leave the state, to go to some of the other events.
I suppose, yeah.
And then Jonny, was already the man to beat there. So definitely tough competition between the two of them, but Jonny's been playing so good for so long.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And I'll interject real quickly there, Dana. I mean, we just heard news of Jonny McCabe taking over Trilogy Plastic literally in the last few weeks, and I believe he's got 2 wins and 2 seconds, if I recall seeing my social media. That's pretty impressive, picking up all new plastic and then going out and, well, still doing what he does, which is win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy can. He knows how to throw a frisbee. He could go out and beat on anybody with any kind of plastic. And he was throwing an all gateway bag for years and years. And there were a few holes in the gateway lineup that I believe cost him a few strokes here and there. So we'll see what he can do with this Trilogy lineup. He's got probably 100 different molds to choose from. So good luck to Jonny with making the switch over, and looks like it's coming pretty easy.
So, Dana, do you know who is possibly next to join the 100 win club? Do you have any information on that? Who's nearby? Who's at like 95 or 99 or something?
You know what? I don't have that.
I would think that Schwebe's got to be nearby, if not in it. I mean, that guy's been taking North Carolina for the past 5 years, and he plays almost.
Geez. Yeah, Brian, definitely Schwebe.
Yeah, if he's not in it already.
And that's who gave me my list of 100 PDGA winners was Schwebe.
Oh,
he's probably, I don't know who's close to 200, but Schwebe's got, I don't know, 160 or 170 open wins.
Okay,
so.
yeah, all right, all right, cool. I was surprised not to see him because I know he's cleaning up in North Carolina a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, and apologies to Schwebe because, like I said, he's the one that I kind of turned to today to find out some of the other winners.
Yeah, I know that event raised like $11,000 for the Ronald McDonald Foundation. So that's shout out to them for sure. That's got to be one of the better single event fundraisers that we've seen. I mean, I know they got the Ice Bowl every year, but that's more of a combined food and money. But this is pretty solid.
Yeah, Dana, what did you learn in terms of, like we just said, $11,000? Kevin had said that as well. What did you learn in terms of the overall efforts that have been taking place down there for that one particular event?
Well, with that $11,000 that they raised this past weekend, that brings their total up to over $30,000 raised over the past 7 years, which is a pretty huge amount for just an annual event, an annual disc golf event. So they're doing a good thing down there. And on the topic of fundraising, I think that that's a great way for disc golf to get on the map. It's something that us as disc golfers can do to help out our local communities and then shine a positive light on the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talked a little bit about it last week in terms of some new companies that have come along, like Drew, who is helping us out with Wander & Co., and just having that socially responsible cause or way to give back. And I think disc golf, I know, has done it in a number of ways, like we just talked about. Those are some more of the obvious ways. A year or two ago when we saw the tornadoes go through Oklahoma, and all the different ways, and it really just goes to show how disc golf likes to embrace and how we're really just this big extended family. And you frequently see, someone who maybe got in a car accident or some other tragic thing that's happened, or somebody needs help for some kind of treatment or whatever.
The homie is a huge. I mean, that kind of took off on its own for a while. That
absolutely.
was a fundraiser for a little bit.
Yeah, so I think you're right, Dana. I think we need to tie into more of those causes. Putting on a great event and winning and winning stuff is great, but also knowing that there's some additional cause or meaning or purpose behind it. And speaking to fundraising, I think Innova also just announced that the Throw Pink initiative from the USDGC was that $11,000 or $12,000. I'm sure someone can chime in, but I believe that raised somewhere around $11,000 or $12,000 as well. And I know there were a number of players along with manufacturers that were part of that. So congratulations to all of them. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool by Innova, that's for sure. And then with it being November, I know a lot of disc golfers out there take place in Movember, where they grow a mustache and raise money for men's health awareness. My good friend Mike Fierke, he's got one of the best mustaches I've seen. If you guys want to donate to his cause or learn more about Movember, head over to dgmike.net and check out his cause and what he's got going on.
Awesome. dgmike.net. You can check it out. Jonny V apparently is working on that Movember thing, but I don't know if it's going so well here.
I keep trying. I concentrate. I focus on the growth, and nothing. I get nothing.
12,800 was the official number. We have an Innova rep here that's in the chat room and helping us out. Kyle, thank you. 12,800 for the Throw Pink initiative. So again, congratulations to everyone that was involved with that. And we got to see some additional exciting things like Jeremy Coling throw over the water and get the ace and all that other good stuff. So very cool. Dana, we talk about fundraising. Ice Bowl, we've touched on it. The Ice Bowl has been a nationwide initiative for the last 20 or 20 plus years. I know Rick Rothstein over at Disc Golf World has had a large part in that. I think he was one of the initial founders of that. That also raises money and food for food banks and charities
throughout the country.
Throughout the entire country. And it's just about to get to that season. And I'm sure if everybody reached out to Rick Rothstein over at Disc Golf World, he could probably get you all set up with that, and another great initiative. So definitely look for that on your radar.
It would definitely be nice if I think last year the Ice Bowls together raised over $300,000, and I don't even know how much food, but that number keeps going up year after year. So that's exciting to see. I think that we keep doing this, kind of following in the PGA Golf Tour's footsteps. One of the things that really helped them grow was getting involved with charities. So I think that's something that we'll be seeing more of. And actually, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but on the 2015 A-Tier and National Tour schedule, it looks like the PDGA has teamed up with St. Jude to run some sort of event in Seaside, California.
Yeah, I saw something on Facebook about that posted from, it might have even been Brian Graham had posted that out there, that they're running some big charity event during, which event is it?
I believe the week after the Masters.
The week after the Masters,
yeah.
Okay.
And I know there's a number of entities involved with that, right, Dana? And it should be pretty exciting. I know we're waiting on a lot of details to unfold. Yeah. Some people know a little more than others, and there's a few industry secrets running around, so we can't release too much now. But I know they are working on some really big things out there. Lots of great parties involved with that, and looks like the week after the Masters Cup, which I believe then will be Memorial Day weekend, some really big stuff going on regarding fundraiser with St. Jude. So very cool. Dana, are you also somewhat involved with that, either directly or indirectly?
There's been some talks. As some of you know, a few years ago, I did a fundraiser at the World Championships in memory of my mom and aunt who passed away from cancer, and that was called DG 4 p.m. And I can't remember if it was right around. I raised $5,000 or so, and so with that success, I think some of the people that are involved in this event noticed and contacted me, and we've had some talks, and I'm hoping that I can help them out in any way possible.
Well, very cool. Again, I think you're spot on, and maybe that's a great way to wrap it up, our segment here. You're spot on with the idea that we need to partner with whatever may be near and dear to your heart, or any given cause. Obviously, there's thousands of great causes out there. I know 2007 AM Worlds that I had hosted was we worked with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, where to help benefit that charity and that cause in terms of helping out my mother. And there's a lot of different ways we can approach it. And I think as long as you're doing anything positive, it's going to be well received. So pretty exciting.
Definitely. Well, hey, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. And again, sorry to everyone that tuned in to see me.
Well, you're the one person that tunes in to see you. She's driving, so.
Yeah, she. So with that being said, Dana, we wish you a very happy and merry Thanksgiving. Yep. Safe travels. We know you're heading, halfway across the country to hang out with some friends, and of course, safe travels to you and your wife. And we look forward to having you next week. We're going to talk about switching up the time or the date next week, but either way, we want you prepared, and we'd love to have you back again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one, and happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone else.
All right, thank you. All right, Johnny, with that being said, that was Dana Vichy, and so glad to have him on. Hopefully every week he can do the work for us. He can research some more events for us.
It takes some of the pressure off us. I mean, we have such a tough job.
Yeah, I know.
It helps to have someone like Dana, do the heavy lifting.
Absolutely.
We're going to have AJ maybe get us an outro video. We got a nice intro one, but maybe we can get a nice outro one.
All right, Disc Golf Boy, that sounds like an assignment for you. Have those in our inbox by next week. Thanks, buddy. All right, now with that being said, again, looks like some action's picking up on the board. Go out and share the link. Let everyone know that it's going on. In just a few moments here, we're going to be dialing up our 2010 World Champion EMAC, Eric McCabe, and we're excited to have him on the show. If there's one guy that knows what he's doing in the world of social media, technology,
podcasting, video, podcast, vlog, I don't know.
I say we swap him out. Maybe he'd come do all our work, and we could
work at Dynamic Disc.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's just switch jobs for a week, like Freaky Friday.
Yeah, exactly. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and dial. Or are we going to dial him up, or do we?
No,
I
think
we want to go.
First, we're going to go over some. We'll go for some news of the sport that
Okay.
we've seen happening. I see there's a note here that there was a basket stolen in the Sheboygan area up nearby us here in Milwaukee. Sheboygan's about 45 minutes north of us.
Yeah.
And they had a basket stolen from one of their parks, but it was just recently returned.
Yeah. So unfortunately, baskets being stolen isn't really news in itself. Unfortunately, that happens more often than we'd like to admit in disc golf. However, once the report, they found out on a Sunday morning, they had reported eventually to the cops, and then the cops ran a story was run in the local newspaper, which was online, and they just put a little pressure out there and said, we'd like to have this back, and it's only one of the two courses that are in during the winter time in that area, or it's the only course in, I should say, in Sheboygan, which is where Barry Schultz has grown up and played. And sure enough, through a little bit of posting and social media and probably some peer pressure, the basket was found off of a walking path in another park. Wow. But somebody, they feel like, probably got a little heat, saw the pressure from the newspaper article, and they went and ditched it. So horrible that they took it. Great that they did the right thing and at least got it back, made the attempt to get it back. And I know a previous Sheboygan resident who was down in Atlanta actually kind of helped with the discovery of some of this. It just, I think the whole crazy part of the story was just that there was multiple hands on deck, and at the end of the day, the basket was returned. And so think about that for next week. Think about any way that you or your club have maybe come up with clever ways to help secure your baskets. We know that vandals will be vandals, and if somebody really wants something, they can hook a semi or a pickup truck or something to pull out a basket. But share with us some of your thoughts and ideas as to how you or your club may protect those valuable assets, those baskets out on the courses. Moving on, and we're going to touch on this real lightly.
This is a subject around here, and we're very, I guess, Wisconsin central today as far as our news around the sport. But pay-to-play was officially adopted in Milwaukee County parks.
Yeah, Milwaukee County Parks, which is a huge park system, which also was the host of the 2007 Am Worlds.
And it's one of the top park systems in the nation for many years.
It got the gold medal award 4 or 5 years ago. And there's been some heated debate by a lot of people about pay-to-play. We know it's a very hot topic just around the entire country, so we're going to real lightly touch on it today. There was just some notification, though, that the board of the Parks Department had to vote on it, and then it had to go to a kind of a county board, and they talked about it, and so on and so forth. So, again, it was passed. Again, give us some input on your pay-to-play. We know our good friends over at All Things Disc Golf and a few others have talked about it in the last few months. But we're interested. And some night we'll sit down and have a thorough discussion about pay-to-play. Again, I think that's its own show in itself.
That might be like an entire sub-show where we could no, I'm serious. We could have a whole pay-to-play. Maybe you've got some connections with Milwaukee County. Maybe you could bring in somebody. I think it might even be my personal alderman that was one of the people fighting it.
Yeah, at one time, and then he saw the light, and
it's been back and forth. Yeah. But either way, it's a touchy subject right now with some people. But I think it's a good discussion to have in the future.
Absolutely, and of course, there's your people up in northern Wisconsin, Mike and Michelle Cousins at Sandy Point, who are one of the first in the state, and Snapper Pearson in San Diego. Way back in the day. And there's just so many other great conversations that can be had. But it is something that is going on, and something that's worth discussing in a future episode.
Well, with that being said, I think I'm going to give Emac a dial, and we'll get him on the line. So let's see if we can get some Eric McCabe.
Sweet action.
Some sweet action?
Sweet action.
All right.
We've got Emac. Eric McCabe, our 2010 world champion, has joined the show. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good. How about you guys? A little warmer than you, probably.
Yeah, it's not too bad, actually, as long as, it's just under freezing here. So
you live in a cold climate when you're like, 30, it's warmed up a little bit.
That's right.
You're excited about that.
That's my light winter jacket, not my heavy winter jacket.
That sounds awesome.
So, Emac, it's just an absolute no-brainer that we have you on the show. In fact, you might have to fill in for us when we're not around. But you're Mr. Podcasts, social media, video camera, tips, tricks, DDTV, and everything else. What have you been keeping busy with?
Oh, it's ridiculous how busy we are around here at Dynamic Discs. Bobby and I, of course, we've got the podcast. We've been doing it for over a year now. Yeah. The Disc Golf Answer Man, where we have people call in, or rather, they send emails in and just ask simple questions, and we answer. We have a Facebook page. You can go there, and if anybody wants to send questions in, you can go to discgolfanswerman.com and submit those questions. We do that. We try to put out a show at least once a week. Okay. And when I'm on the road, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But since we've hired Bobby Brown full time as our media guy at DD, it's been a lot easier. Being able to work with him in studio, and which I'm actually in our studio right now, our DDTV studio, which has been a brainchild of ours for quite some time. And we finally, wanted to put a quality show together, and I think we've got 2 episodes out now, and the third one is just about done filming, and it should be out toward the 1st of December.
And a lot of people probably know Bobby maybe a little bit better as Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, if you didn't know that. He was putting out some tournament videos years and years ago, kind of in your general area throughout the Midwest, and he had, I know he worked with Disc Golf Planet for a bit, doing some side work there, and he's got some really good experience. I mean, what he puts together is really solid. I've been a fan for a while.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's all self-taught too. That's what's amazing about him.
Yeah, we'll say in his previous life he had more of a finance banker style job. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, he worked at a credit union.
Okay. Yeah, and it's just amazing seeing the transition. He was really one of the early pioneers in video tournament coverage, And I've always known from day one that he was a guy that I could look to as a resource, and whether he liked it or not, I was seeing what he was doing. And again, huge shout out to him. He actually created probably my most used video blog intro when I know I needed one, and he was actually the man that created it for me. So he's been such an asset to the sport, and like you said, to Dynamic Discs. What's the dumbest question? No, maybe not the dumbest question.
No.
What is
what's the most common question?
Yeah, there you go. What's the most common question that you're getting over there on like Disc Golf Answer Man? Is there one that you're ever like, okay, we've answered this 9 other times?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them that we get repeat questions of, but we go ahead and answer them just in case they're first time listeners, and it's usually why can't I throw far?
Sure.
How do I add distance? And what it most of the time boils down to is, these players that are new to the game are watching these pros in the bag, and they just assume because I can throw a, overstable high-speed driver that they should be able to pick up that same disc and throw it identical. The
sure.
Same, and that's not the case. And there's, there's a whole line of discs out there that are actually made for beginners.
Yeah.
And
just because
opening their eyes to those discs.
Yeah, just because they see someone like you throw, a stiletto 400 feet doesn't mean that they're going to be able to walk out and do the same thing. It's one of the things we've seen with a lot of newer players. They look at, whether it's the distance or the speed of the disc, and they just kind of assume that, this is the furthest flying disc. This is the one I should have.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'll say that is, I love that segment on DDTV where you talk about, is this disc for me? And it's I think you're perfectly answering that question or addressing that issue of, yes, this disc is good for me, and here's how I throw, and here's my skill level. And I know you've had both Denise, I believe, and Bobby Brown in the other side of the segment say, okay, well, here's this disc, and here's how I throw, and it is or isn't good for me. And I think that's probably the number one thing, just like you guys were talking about. Just, this is super fast. I should be able to throw it far. Well, not necessarily.
Not yet. Put that one in the closet. Bring it out in a year or two.
Simon Lizotte has different skill sets than 99% of the rest of the world. That's for sure.
That is a fact. And it's nice that we have such a wide variety of players that actually work for Dynamic Discs now. I mean, we have almost 30 people that are full-time employed at our shop just in Emporia. So, we have many people to choose from, so you'll be seeing a lot of new faces out there on DDTV.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I got to send a huge shout out to DDTV. It's certainly it's got various segments on the show. Everything from Is This Disc Right For Me to your rule segments. A lot of different things that I think need to be out there. And I'll say I was kind of too lazy to do some of those, but those are some great ideas of different segments that you guys have had. How do you see that show growing, and what's kind of the plan with it?
We're just kind of getting in the baby steps really right now, and when we all sat down and actually watched the first episode, we were just kind of blown away by what Bobby did with it, how he put it together, and it made it look like an actual show. So we had all visions of that, and just the fact that it has gone there is amazing. In the future, I could see more, because Bobby travels to tournaments as well, so doing more interviews with players at tournaments, maybe doing some coverage of tournaments, and just kind of really sticking to our plan of growing the sport in a basic level. So
now I know that what Bobby's been doing, like you said, he makes a very well produced show. Is that something you guys are going to hope to even try to be able to continue when you're a lot busier come, summertime, spring or summertime?
Yeah. Right now I think we're planning on putting them about once a month.
Okay.
And and we also have, I'm not sure if you're familiar, Dixon Jowers. He's a full-time employee here now, and he actually stepped up and did some work for the next episode when I was out of town. So, like I said, Bobby's here full-time. He does travel, but we'll definitely still be we'll be plugging him out at least once a month in the future.
Sweet.
Keep him chained to the computer. That's where he's best. We know.
Yeah. We don't let him out of his office very often.
That's nice.
So speaking of that, your office, you said you're over there at the distribution center, which is also where you guys do a lot of your filming and whatnot. Talk a little bit about the dynamic, if you will, of who's all there and what's going on. We've seen DD, grow from a small internet company, obviously, to now doing everything from shoes to bags to, really 3 different lines of discs, in the Trilogy lineup. Talk a little bit about, what's all going on down there and when they're just going to rename the city to Dynamic.
Yeah, you guys seem to have a lot of support there.
Yeah, that may not be too far off, actually. It's been nothing but a great ride the whole time. Since 2005 when Jeremy first started Dynamic Discs, it's been an honor to be with him from the beginning, helping him pick out the logo to ordering discs. I used to use all of my personal allocation through Discraft and just say, whenever Jeremy Rusko calls, you just send in my discs. And
nice.
So it's been a great partnership from the beginning. So 2 years ago when they decided to start making discs, it wasn't an easy decision, because I had a few options on the table, but in the end it was a fairly easy decision to stick with DD. And it's amazing all the, just the little things that go on. We have, weekly meetings and, the new discs line we got coming out, to, of course, the Glass Blown Open. And the Glass Blown Open it's near and dear to my heart because I actually started the event. This is the 13th annual Glass Blown Open, and it is April 30th through May 2nd. It's actually a Thursday through Saturday event this year. It's Emporia, our city, just shuts down for the event.
Do you guys ever have anybody signed up for that yet? I haven't seen anything on Facebook or anything about.
It's funny because we posted that 2 days ago that there's 400 players signed up, and this morning 444.
Very nice.
If you guys are planning on coming out to the Glass Blown this next year, I'd get signed up pretty soon.
Okay.
Well, if we came out, it probably wouldn't be to play.
Yeah, we're not that good. Come on. When you guys are doing events like the Glass Blown Open, and then there's so many other different events, what sets apart a DD event from some of the other ones that may be going on by other people? How are they different? Because obviously there's a big following, and I know you guys put on a ton of events. How do you differentiate yourselves from the guy 100 miles away running his B tier?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just Jeremy Rusko and his mindset on how he wants to do things, and he wants to do things right. Anybody that's been to a Dynamic Discs event, whether it's the Mother's Day Madness, it's a one-day B tier down in Lewisville, Texas, or the Glass Blown Open, it's just a completely different atmosphere when you're there, having the our RV that's a full wrap RV set up. Our tables all out, the banners all out, music playing. It's just a different atmosphere. It's almost like an experience over, an actual tournament. Kind of like the disc golf experience that we ran at AT&T Stadium this last year. And just events like that are something that really nobody's doing.
Yeah, I've seen you guys. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of things that nobody's doing, like the AT&T event, and it really is kind of crazy to see the growth in the different areas that you guys have been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were talking about with GBO, last year we had 512 people signed up, played the event, and this year we're shooting for 900, and it's not even December, and we've almost hit how many people we had last year. So yeah, it's this next year is going to be a lot of fun, just across the whole board of everything we've got going on at DD.
And last year you had, quite a few unique player package items. I think some people got to come to the factory and do their own stamping. Can you give us a clue as to maybe some secrets you got going on this year?
Well, I can't really talk too much about the player pack this year. We did get some items in the other day that are pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to posting all over Facebook whenever I get the opportunity. But we'll definitely be doing some warehouse stuff, coming out and letting people come in and probably stamp their own disc again, and potentially a bonfire. We're not sure if we're going to be able to do that one yet, but a movie night, a block party on Saturday night where the city shuts down 3 city blocks right in front of our shop in this right downtown Emporia, Kansas, and the whole city comes out for this event. This year, there was actually the same time frame as Cinco de Mayo, so they kind of just threw the festival together.
Oh, wow.
So there were street vendors. There was a live band. I mean, it just goes on and on, the activities we've got going on. Not to mention a doubles event that we're going to do for the first time on Sunday. And if we fill with 40 teams on the pro side, it's going to be $3,000 for first place. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's adequate.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we really grill you about some other things. First, I have to ask, in talking to you last year, I believe it was the day before the USDGC had kicked off, so it must have been Tuesday. You were out playing and practicing with a couple other guys, and you talked a little bit about, how much you've been on the road, how like so many others, you've been grinding it out and touring for so many years now. Do you see yourself then playing less tournaments, being more involved maybe there at the office and doing some of the other things that you're talking about? Or where's the priority of actually physically throwing these discs? Where does that stand for you these days?
Well, the last couple of years, I've still been hitting it pretty hard. I started touring, and my first actual year of going out on the road was 2003. So it's been a very long time, and I've been active the whole time playing, with the exception of when I had my injury and, of course, my back injury a couple years ago. But, as long as I'm still healthy, I'm still planning on going out and, playing at least all the NTs and majors and, a few of the A tiers that are, that I really enjoy playing. But absolutely, I don't plan on being a full-time roadie like I have been the past few years and kind of more focus on growing the sport and helping Dynamic Discs.
Well, you've been obviously doing a really good job with that. But one of the questions that we get grilled on all the time is, even though we were only literally a few weeks old, is why weren't we covering the Glass Blown Open last year? And we were covering the Minnesota Amateur Championships, which was a phenomenal event. We went on to see Jordan Castro, who ended up finishing in the top 4 at the M Worlds, and lots of great people. What's it going to take? The players want the GBO live, and I know Bobby Brown's going to be there. Do you guys have something of your own up your sleeve, or what's it going to take for SmashBoxx to get down there?
It's been kicked around many times. Of course, there's a lot of value in having SmashBoxx down to help out with the event. Ultimately, it's not my decision, so you can hit up Rusco on that one.
He's passing the buck here, Johnny.
Yeah, he's gonna say, ask Mayor Rusco of.
Actually, it probably wouldn't even be Rusco, because Rusco doesn't. He's not even a part of the everyday activities anymore. It seems like we've got other people in line doing that now. So
sure.
I would hit up Bobby Brown if you're going to hit up anybody.
Okay. Well, we just like to say we know that you're going to have a truly historic event, and if there's something that SmashBoxx can do to help out, obviously I know you guys are more than capable with some amazing coverage and overall depiction of the event. But if there's a way that we can help out from the live capacity, I say that because I selfishly want to be down there and see what's all going on with what all the great hubbub is about, but also we do get a lot of people that say this is clearly one of the best tournaments of the country, one of the best of the year. And if we can't make it, if we can't be one of those special 900, we want to be able to, be at home and take it in. So we'll reach out to Mr. Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. Yeah. Now, has he lost the Cool Daddy Slick Breeze moniker, or is
No, he's still Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. He still considers himself that during our answering podcast.
There you go, nice. What so you touched on a little bit earlier. You guys obviously always have exciting things going on. You really kind of have almost three distinctly different disc golf companies kind of under one roof there. Talk about something new or exciting out there that we can look for down the pipe from any one of them.
Well, it's already winter time and it's cold. And so we're actually coming out with a new plastic line. It actually releases online on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. It's called Fluid Plastic.
So you're going to get a jump on that Black Friday sales you went with.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, it's Fluid Plastic, and right now it's going to be available in 3 different discs. It's going to be available in our Truth, our Escape, and Judge. And basically what it is, it's just more of a flexible, grippy plastic, that's it feels better in the hand during winter time when it's super cold. Like you guys know, I mean, you guys walk outside and you're freezing. So you know your discs are super hard right now. You need something a little gummier. So, and of course, a lot of people just enjoy that gummy plastic even in the summertime. So, you know, our line is called Fluid. The Latitude 64 line is going to be called Frost, and Westside Discs is going to be called Elasto. And the Latitude available discs are going to be the Diamond, the River, and the Claymore. And Westside Discs, of course, is going to have the World and the Giant. So Excellent. Those are the new things coming out right now. Of course, we've got some other things coming up soon that you'll hear about. I've actually got my own signature Ranger bag coming out. It's going to be pretty cool one. I believe it'll be, you know, toward the end of the year when we get those in. But
did you pick out the colors for that? Did you help design that, or what makes it?
You know, we with our Ranger bags, we partnered with OGO, who is a bag company, and we basically go to their website and, you know, they send us different samples of you know, the material that they have to use, and it's basically whatever they have in stock. And I have two coming out at some point. The first one that'll be out will be it's kind of a gray, and it's got pink zippers and stitching and blue accents on it. So it's a pretty cool looking bag, and yeah, I definitely got to choose which ones I wanted to do.
Excellent.
Talk a little bit about, and this is something that maybe everyone should know if they don't already. Talk a little bit about when Trilogy is referenced. You know, some people understand kind of how the three of you work together, the three different companies, how you're under one roof, how you're, you know, but yet you're separate, you know, and I know you guys can all throw each other's plastic when you're sponsored ultimately by Trilogy, but kind of give everyone, if they don't know or they've made their own assumption, give everyone the kind of the breakdown on how that is really laid out for you guys.
Well, a lot of people, you know, they hear Trilogy and they think it's an actual disc golf company, which isn't the case, really. It's just it's actually what the fans have labeled the three companies is the Trilogy. And you can go on Facebook. There's a great Facebook page out there called, you know, Latitude 64 Dynamic Discs and Westside Discs fan page. And there's so much knowledge on that. If you have any kind of question about, you know, I want this disc, I need one of these, you know, there'll be 100 comments on it telling you what people feel that they should do. But essentially how it works is Latitude 64 is based in Sweden, and they produce all the discs for Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, and Westside Discs. And, of course, they put them in containers, and they ship them out once a month, and we have a container show up with 80,000 discs in it, and we unload it here in the warehouse, and we distribute all of the United States with that great plastic.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I know there's always, you know, I mean, people who don't live and breathe disc golf as much, we'll say, I think sometimes get confused as to who is who and how that works. And we see, you know, so many of your ambassadors, you know, Dave Felberg and so many of your other players and Devin Owens. And I think about all the different players sponsored by, we'll say, one leg. But really, you guys are kind of still a tight-knit conglomerate or family all within there.
Absolutely. And we're all, you know, it's nice because, you know, even a couple months ago, I would still walk through the warehouse and find a couple discs that I've never thrown yet. And it's like, oh, I need to test this thing out, because there's literally hundreds of discs to choose from in the whole Trilogy lineup. And so, yeah, I've been blessed with that.
Ain't nobody got time for throwing discs. Come on now. No, and speaking of which, and I'm going to butcher this, unfortunately, Astrovolder? I don't know. He's listening live from Iceland, and so he's going to definitely need some more plastic out there, but very cool that we have some international action and people chiming in on our board. So thank you for that.
Being from Iceland, maybe he'll want that fluid plastic.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Wait, isn't it green? Nah,
well.
Anyway, Eric, EMAC, anything else you want to share with us? You're the 2010 world champion. You've won. How close are you to that 100 win club?
Oh, man, I'm you know, that is a goal of mine. Absolutely.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, I won my third event of the year, which was the Piney Woods Open, and that was my 77th win, I believe. So I'm getting closer.
Okay.
I'm getting older too, so it's you know, it's an uphill battle from here.
Try to get there before you hit Masters age.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually. Nate Sexton and I both have we're kind of have a battle between each other to see who's the first one to 100. I think I'm at 77, and I believe he's 73. And
he moved into a really competitive area.
Yeah, that really advantages you with him moving to North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. Now that he lives in North Carolina, he's got a lot of tough players to play against. So.
All right, so give us, before we let you go, give us, we'll say, your favorite course?
No, before we do that, there's a question from the board, and I'm not exactly sure who it's from. Uncle Bobby Jr. He wants us to ask Eric what it's like working with Bobby, and how does he handle all that greatness?
Yeah, wow.
Man, it's amazing.
I'm sure it's tough. I know it can be tough to be in the same room with that ego. It
can be rough, man. I'll tell you what. Maybe we should trade positions sometime.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that could make for some interesting coverage and shows out there.
Yeah. So going back to what Terry was saying, do you have any favorite courses or any favorite locales that you like to play in every year?
It's tough because I played so many courses, and actually that's kind of where I'm going more toward in the future. Actually, when you asked that question, was I'm going more into course design. And I've actually put in a course not too long ago out in Manchester, New Hampshire. I've got it all designed out, and they're fixing to order the baskets and go from there. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to doing in the future. But that being said, probably one of my favorite courses is the one up in Skellefteå, Sweden. Actually, it's where Latitude 64 is, and it's at Latitude 64, if that makes sense. So, it's a great complex up there. I visited it for the first time, actually, this past year. Bobby and I went out there, spent a couple weeks out there, and we did a lot of filming on the course, and that's actually the home of the major this next year, the Scandinavian Open. So looking forward to that event. So I really enjoyed the European style of disc golf. It's a lot of fun over there.
How would we're almost out of questions, but how does that compare to, we'll say, the U.S. style of disc golf? What do you mean when you say the European style of disc golf?
Well, it's I think it's just a different kind of like atmosphere over there. It's just the courses they really put time into the courses, and it's not like just normal park style golf like you guys were discussing earlier, the pay to play. The majority of the courses I've played over there have all been pay to play, but they're on complexes, and they have restaurants on the complex. It's like a country club more or less, and they just really take good care of the property, and there's multiple different pin positions, and they really take pride in their disc golf in Europe.
Yeah, and if there's one thing we hear more and more of is just how much it's growing over there. And there's been a lot of great ambassadors, yourself included, that have been over there and been a part of that. And I think we're going to only see that demographic and that whole region continue to grow and take it more and more seriously. You're
going to see a lot of those guys start coming over here and playing some of our big events, which will be nice. Simon and some of the Swedes have been coming over for quite a while now. Obviously now Simon. So hopefully we're going to start seeing more of an international contingent come over to the United States.
Okay. Emac, we know you've got some signature discs, but give us your single favorite disc here.
Okay. Well, right now it's definitely the Lucid Truth, which is our mid-range that we put out last year at Am Worlds. That was in Emporia, Kansas, actually. It's just been it's a staple in my bag. I've always been a mid-range thrower, for years through the buzz, and this flies. I would say it flies. It doesn't feel like a buzz, but it flies similar to one, maybe a little bit faster and a little bit longer. So that's definitely my go-to favorite disc.
Awesome, Johnny. Anything else for Emac?
No, I think we've covered everything that we've wanted to talk with Emac about. We can probably let him get going. It's getting late here, and. Yeah, but thanks for joining us today on the show. We appreciate having you. We want to, if anything new pops up, don't hesitate to let us know. We're always welcome to have you on as a guest.
Excellent. I appreciate it, guys, and good work. Keep up the good show.
And on the way out, just let everyone know where they can find you on social media and things like that.
Of course. I'm on Twitter at Eric McCabe 11674. Probably one of my favorite things is Instagram. I'm actually on there at Eric_McCabe and Ralph McCabe. You need to check out Ralph's feed. He's
we didn't get into Ralph even. I mean, that's a whole nother hour probably.
Yeah, we'll see if we can line him up for the next.
I almost brought him to work this afternoon so he could be on the show, but he's been great. I actually got a nice tattoo, my first tattoo, over the late summer when I was out in New York, and it's a nice picture of Ralph.
Is it viewable now, or is this not for public?
It's on my calf. If you want to check it out, you can go to Instagram and check it out.
Well, I'm sure the next one, the other calf will be Bobby. So it'll be Ralph and Bobby.
Absolutely.
All right. With that being said, again, we'd like to thank our 2010 world champion, Eric McCabe, part of the Answer Man, as well as Dynamic Disc TV, and really just a whole myriad of other great ambassador work that we're seeing here in disc golf. So many have said you're one of the greatest ambassadors we have out there in disc golf, and I have to wholeheartedly agree, and doing some really good things over there at Dynamic Disc and beyond. So thanks again for joining us this week, EMAC, and we'll look for you out on somewhere out on a podcast or a social web, or maybe winning another big tournament.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, pal. Take care. And so with that being said, again, Eric McCabe, I've known Eric for a number of years. In fact, he signed up for the PDGA, we'll say, less than a year after I did. He's got one of those low numbers, the 11,000s.
Yep.
And he's been traveling and touring and playing and winning for a lot of years. And I don't know if he's got any enemies out there. He's just such a nice, lovable guy. And he's really good at what he does. I mean, outside of playing, even.
Yeah, he's a great speaker. He's friendly. He's amicable. He's approachable, which is really nice. Which I think helps him out, definitely for the podcast and things like that. I think people aren't afraid to come up to him and just spill their guts and ask whatever they need to. So yeah, I think that helps out.
And he's got a cute dog.
Yeah, Ralph.
All right. With that being said, again, thank you, EMAC and Dynamic Disc. We're excited to hear from anyone and everyone. We're here, just like they say over there. We're here to grow the sport, and so there's lots of opportunities to talk with pretty much anyone that wants to have a good conversation with us, whether that's disc, bags, whatever. And we're going to get into that in just a bit here, some more of those details.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for guests or things like that, let us know. Reach out to us on our social media at our Smashbox page on Facebook, or either of our Twitter accounts, or email. I'm John at SmashBoxx.tv, Terry at SmashBoxx.tv. Either one, you can reach out, and we will we'll take all that into account, and we'll kind of try to figure out who our next guests we want to line up for.
Absolutely. We've got so many great people, and a lot of people have talked to us again about it's the off season. What's there to talk about? Well, there are great individuals, like all three of our guests really already have been, in Steve Dodge, Katrina, and EMAC, and there's really I know a list in my head of at least a dozen more people that are just no-brainers to get on the show. It's just really a matter of getting them all worked out. And speaking to that, we're seeing more shows, and people like the Disc Golf Show, who I know does a monthly podcast, Dynamic Disc TV,
Spin TV.
Yeah, there's just so many avenues and outlets for people out there to be taking all these people in. And so if somebody's interviewed one week, we don't necessarily want to grab them the very next week. So we'll try and be conscientious of when we're going to bring all our different guests on and get them on board. But EMAC is such a no-brainer because, like I said, he's done what we're doing.
Yeah, he's if we had any questions, we can ask EMAC, any suggestions, any hot tips, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to move also over to some talk about some products. And this is probably one of the biggest, most important things we can say about new products. It's obviously being here in the winter and whatnot, and being cold, like EMAC said. Maybe discs are going to be kind of tough for us to review, and like we just talked about, a disc is going to act differently for me versus Jonny here versus the 910 rated AM versus Paul Mcbeth or Eric. And so discs are kind of hard to talk about and review, but just about anything outside of discs are really easy to talk about.
Yeah, and we can, we've got our studio. We can bring things on site. We'll get a good review. And
yeah, exactly. So with that being said, if there's something that you're really interested in maybe having us discuss or review, I can't promise it'll be a good review. It'll be an honest review.
It'll be an honest review.
You're more than welcome to send us hopefully 2 of whatever it is or more.
We don't like to share. That's the thing.
Exactly. So send us 2 of whatever it might be, and we can talk about it. Maybe if we have time, maybe we will use it or test it out ahead of time. But one thing we can do is talk about it on the show as we see some of the new products that come out. Couple notes that we had on here, for instance, I know Fossa Bags. I had a brief conversation with them. I know they're coming out with a disc golf bag. Kind of seems like there's a lot of disc golf bag companies coming along, and everyone's got their own unique twist to it. And it'll be interesting to see that industry unfold. I know I even talked about dipping into that 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's got to be at least 10 different bag companies right now that are hot. I mean, we're not even talking about like the original older bags, like your standard, that old Innova or Gates. No,
Gateway used to have a Revolution.
The City bag.
Wall City.
The Wall City bag. That was like one of our first bags way back in the day.
That's an old school reference for those of you that
that's right.
Just picked up a disc in the last 15 years. You wouldn't know about Wall City, but they were definitely one of the main bags out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so we we're looking at a huge market expansion right now, and it just doesn't seem like people can get enough.
Yeah, there are so many different options. One of the things I did, I don't know if you screwed up or I screwed up. We'll share the blame.
Sure.
We will clarify. We were talking, I believe we mentioned last week about Matt Seary taking over Bag Company. We may have incorrectly said Big Heiser bags. In fact, he took over Heiser Bomb bags.
Heiser Bomb, yeah.
That's a legitimate mistake, possibly.
Heiser.
It's Spike Heiser. No, there's lots of. So, anyways, just to clarify that, Matt with Excitement has taken over Heiser Bomb, and I know he's working on big stuff with that. So, just a quick clarification there to make sure we're all straight and good on that end. So, again, if you got something that you want us to take a look at, send over a couple of them over, and we'll see if we can take a look at it.
Reach out to us. We'll get you the address.
I know that also to wrap up our newer product segment, Steve Dodge, our first guest, has a new product called Lugs. And there's some kind of a rubber, of course, because that's what they do. It's some kind of a rubber. I don't want to say it's kind of like throwing jacks or something, but it's a rubber thing, and you throw it down on the tee, and you got to get it to try and land on the tee, and then that will decipher if you get an extra shot or you get a shot taken away. Kind of a fun way to like change up a game. Yeah, like a side game. Kind of, And I know they're doing something special with that, and that was one of the new products I just saw released. Again, just a way to change up your regular routine of playing around with your buddies. Look kind of fun. So Lugs, look for those from all your Vibram dealers. I know they're running a special on those, so look for that.
So let's get into what we've seen on the social media.
The Facebook,
the Instagram, as Eric McCabe seems to like lately, and the Twitters, all that good stuff. We've seen T2 out of Japan.
Yes,
was throwing not a disc.
No. Why would he throw a disc? That'd be normal.
It's Japan after all.
Yes,
he wasn't being drugged behind a horse or anything like that. If for those of you who have seen some crazy Japan game shows, but no, he was throwing a pizza.
Yeah. So it had circulated throughout the internet, mainly Facebook, in the last week or so, of a gentleman standing on, we'll say it looked like one side of an alleyway.
Okay.
Probably a floor or two up, and he was handed a pizza of sorts, and you see him really taking his time to line it up. I think it was going to be a timed ordeal.
Okay.
Took his time to line it up and then threw it across what looked like an alley or a street. It banked off the inside of a microwave oven and then went right into the actual microwave. So
really,
basically a perfect throw. And
with a pizza.
With like it was like a pizza maybe on top of a frisbee of sorts.
Okay.
It was really unique. And it was funny because I saw this circulating all around, and immediately I was like, I know him. That's T2. He goes by T2. I could never pronounce his full name, but he goes by T2. I have one of his minis that he gave me when I played with him in the 2008 Japan Open.
Yep.
And so anyway, you see a lot of crazy things. I know if you ever get the chance to visit Japan in any way, their TV programming is very interesting. We'll say, if you're not used to it.
Take go down a rabbit hole on YouTube and just do a search for Japanese game show.
Yes.
And I guarantee you 3 hours later, you'll be rubbing your eyes, wondering what did you just see.
Yes, it was. So it's very interesting. So I wasn't really shocked. To me, it was just cooler that, in fact, that I knew him and was watching him do it. So very interesting. Saw that on social media. I know, not that he's got his own segment.
It seems like he does. I mean, he's out there on social media.
He is, so he's definitely got to talk about it.
And by he, we mean, Paul Mcbeth.
Yes, Paul Mcbeth, your 3-time champ. There's been lots of conversation. He talked about his car being up for sale.
Yep. The first week, our first podcast, his car was up for sale.
Yep.
Second podcast, he sold the car.
It sold, yep.
This week?
Now he has bought a very large truck.
Dualies.
Yeah, it's I'm not a truck guy, I'm not a car guy, but he bought a very large truck. Talked about it. I know it's a GMC. I don't know if it's a Denali or I don't know, but it's a GMC product. Somebody said, I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway,
no, you don't.
Somebody and so there was a lot of, we'll say, criticism even immediately talking about the gas mileage that he's going to get or that he's not going to get. And, people thought when he got rid of his Charger that he would be looking for something so much more economical. And
just the opposite.
Yeah.
This will get, less miles per gallon than his Charger, but he can also, he might be able to offset the costs by pulling his home. So
exactly. And so that's one of the conversations that ensued. I know he is looking to purchase a fifth wheel, a camper to put on the back. Yeah. And I don't believe he's going to be touring as much. I know that's one thing that in talking to him earlier in the year, he's going to be playing and he's going to take everything as serious, if not more, next year. But I don't think you're going to see him at quite as many of events. So if that, he still talked of, I believe, 18-ish miles to the gallon, 12 to 16, 12 to 18 miles to the gallon, diesel, all that stuff. So anyway, one of the funny things, he was very quiet about it after he posted the picture. But then he saw, and as he said to me, he saw... his family members were so shocked that his vehicle purchase created this uproar on Facebook. And so that's why, again, it's worth talking about it. It is interesting.
It's part of moving to Oklahoma. Yeah. I think you have to get a truck.
Yeah, something like
I saw something. It was a graph, of like a kind of a image of the United States, like a map, and they were showing the most common vehicles purchased in each state. And Wisconsin, I think it was the F-150, and it was the F-150 almost all through the Midwest. So, I think moving from the coasts where he was to Oklahoma, I think it's just it's almost like a rite of passage. You just have to get a truck.
Well, and we know that he is working very closely with his main sponsor in Innova, and we're going to see some big things. And like Brad and others are saying out here, yes, he's gonna be able to sleep in there. He's going to be touring. He's going to have people with him. He's going to be able to help other people out. So it was really an educated purchase. He knows what he's doing. And
do you think we could get that truck wrapped with a SmashBoxx logo?
Well, we might have to beat up the Spin TV guys like Jamie and those other guys, but
we can take them.
Make it happen.
We'll just sneak up with a sticker and I'll put it over there.
Put it right on the headlights.
That's right, some spray paint.
So congrats to Paul. We know that you're doing some big things, and good luck to you.
Someone near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely.
Kind of where you I won't say where you got your start, but where you kind of branched off. Steve Hubner from Disc Golf Talk Radio kind of gave a final send-off on Facebook.
Yeah, and it was just today. And, of course, thank you so much, Steve. We had mentioned it, I believe, in our first episode. Disc Golf Talk Radio had really kind of set the tone for doing an audio podcast of any kind. And he immediately had reached out to a handful of our top pros. And I logged in just to listen as a fan. And to his second episode, I missed the first one, and the second one was with Avery Jenkins. And I logged in, and immediately he said, "Oh, hey, are you interested in logging in and helping out, or logging in to, talk to Avery as well?" I'm like, I reluctantly said yes, because I was really just there to listen. And 4 hours later, we all got off the podcast, and from there we kind of really set the show, and it was obviously much shorter after that. And Steve did all the legwork. He did all of the audio technical stuff that, you do. So, and then some. Yeah. And so with that being said, he said that now that I'm working with you directly and we're doing some SmashBoxx stuff, he's going to probably shut down Disc Golf Talk Radio.
Okay.
And, he kind of gave a really nice, like you said, kind of final send-off on Facebook today. So thank you to Steve. Again, it's been a pleasure working together, and
it doesn't sound like he's getting out of the podcasting business. It just sounds like he's going to shift gears to possibly podcast other things. He was talking about some was it fishing podcast?
Well, his original podcast was actually called Bass Fishing and More, because he's a bass fisherman, and that's what he was originally really branded everything under until he branched off into calling it Disc Golf Talk Radio. And he's really close with the Natty and in the Cincinnati area, and the Natty Disc Golf Shop, and just all, Idlewild's not far from there, and all those great people in that area. So he's talking about possibly doing a more focused and localized podcast. So if he does, I'm sure at some point we'll check in with him.
Yep.
And talk a little bit with him on our show here as well. So again, huge thanks to Steve and everything that you've been doing out there, pal. Keep at it.
Well, should we finish off the podcast? We're at about, an hour and 10 minutes almost. Should we finish off the podcast with some weekly picks?
Absolutely. Let's do that. I'm going to check over the message board and see what's going on there. But, what do you got?
As many people know, I'm an unabashed nerd. And, it goes with the business, maybe.
Awkward.
Yeah, well, But this past week, I picked up a graphic novel that I've been reading. It's a fancy word for a big comic book.
I was gonna call you out on that.
Yeah, it is. It's a fancy word for a big comic book.
Novel.
Graphic novel usually.
You mean like 50 Shades of Grey graphic novel?
No, not that kind of graphic novel. We'll leave that as your pick, Terry, of the week. A graphic novel usually is a collection of comics. The one I'm reading recently, and I don't read a lot of them. It's called Lock and Key. It's by a guy named Joe Hill. You may know his father better by the name Stephen King.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of
that guy. The one, a bunch of movies and a bunch of scary books and things like that. And I've never read a Stephen King novel myself, but Lock and Key is along the same vein. It's kind of a supernatural, graphic, as in, violent story. And I picked it up. I think there's about 25, maybe there's more than that. Maybe there's 35 different books, and I got them on my iPad. I've been going through them. I've been burning through them, and it's really good. It's my understanding is it was actually even possibly picked up for a movie or a series a couple months ago. So if you're into that type of thing, go ahead and grab Lock and Key. It's well worth it. Know that know what you're getting into. It's a little bit graphic, but it's really good. It's a compelling story.
Awesome.
How about you, Terry?
Wow. I'm gonna stretch again and go non-disc golf here this week for a pick.
I like the non-disc golf ones. Your life revolves around disc golf. You do something other than that.
I'm gonna move to a different sport, and I'm gonna say
permanently.
No. Damn. I'm gonna say racquetball.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna say about that is, I was introduced to racquetball a few years ago. And what really became so great for me is it was such an exciting way to get some serious aerobic exercise. I mean, if you get into it and you get serious about it, it's a workout and then some. And I do need to do some more working out. I'm not shy about that. I'm going to call up my friends Kevin and Steve Held.
Okay.
Kevin from Pandemonium, I know, has put a whooping on me, and Steve Held, well, he's got one win against me in like 150 games. So, no, but I do want to say just racquetball. It's a really fun sport. I remember seeing it as a kid when I would go to the YMCA and play basketball and other things. And I was like, these guys are in like this weird cage.
What are all these old guys doing?
Yeah, exactly. Old guys, like, I obviously had no idea.
When you're 14, a 30-year-old looks old to you.
True. And I just had no idea what they were doing, and it looked so silly, and I had no idea how the rules worked. And since then, I've got a real basic racket, and I can go out and play some racquetball. I just love it, and I think it's a great aerobic exercise that I want to get more into. In fact, I'd like to literally get into playing every single day of the week if possible, if the schedule allows, and hopefully that can help with a little off-season weight off, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
so if you're out there and play racquetball, and Terry's coming to town, challenge him.
Yeah,
we could do a whole segment on people who challenge Terry at racquetball.
And let me just tell you, I'm not that good. I'm not going to claim I'm good.
I've played against you once.
Okay.
And that was the only time I've ever played. And you kicked my butt.
Well.
And my understanding is you're not bad. From what people have said, you're not bad.
Well, thanks. I don't think I'm good, but I'm not horrible either. But either way, I am genuinely there for the exercise.
Yep.
It's just such a fun way to do it. So what I want to say about this pick is mine is racquetball. We'd love to hear what yours is. What is your thing to go out that's not disc golf? Some other sport that isn't disc golf related that you enjoy. I know obviously we have some crossover with disc golf into ultimate players and vice versa, but maybe a non-Frisbee sport. What is that you enjoy?
Sure.
You know, whether it's on season or off for disc golf. We just love to hear what it is and, you know, and what the reason is that you do it. If it's to get your mind off things or if it's to, you know, lose weight or if it's to do whatever it is, you know, we'd love to hear what that is. Your other choice.
Awesome.
Okay.
So finally, you know, where can people find us, Terry?
Well, the internet thing, when is the internet? And when the internet gets better, will it have 4 W's like www?
The way things go, things get smaller now when they get better. So they have less W's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
well, either way, they can. I know they can certainly, as you said at the beginning of the hour. Please go out and subscribe on iTunes, on YouTube, on Facebook. Those are all great places to subscribe so you see what's going on. Somehow I'm going to figure it out on Facebook, how we can invite more people to the show rather than me going through like 4,000 people every week.
Sure.
But we'll figure out a way that we'll get everyone invited so people know when it's going on live so you can interact with us.
Definitely.
Of course, Kevin McCoy, Brad, Kyle, so many others.
Brad plays pool to keep in shape. Is that what you were asking him to keep in shape, or just outside of disc golf?
Maybe he goes swimming in a pool.
No.
Okay. Keith with bowling. There's lots of great answers out there. So you find us in all those places. Please subscribe, and we want to keep everybody updated. Before I forget, this is pretty important. Before I forget, let's talk about where we're going to be and what we're doing next week.
Yes.
There's a slight schedule.
There's going to be a slight schedule change. My real, I'll put in quotes, my real job is...
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know. Is actually, I'll be on the other side of the state next Tuesday. So we're going to push this back next week to Wednesday.
Okay.
So... I think is that December 2nd or 3rd?
Let's check the calendars. That would be Wednesday, December 3rd.
Wednesday, December 3rd, we're going to do this. So just for now, next week, we're going to push this back one date. So we'll be Wednesday, December 3rd, we'll be here at the SmashBoxx studio, giving you all the disc golf information you can handle.
And then some.
Yeah.
So, next week it will be on Wednesday. We're going to figure out maybe even later tonight who our main featured guest. Of course, we're going to have Dana Vichy back.
Yeah, we'll have Dana back. We'll line up a guest. At this point, we don't have anybody lined up particularly, but we'll find somebody.
I got a good friend in Steve Rico. I know he's hanging out there, and he commented last week.
He's
been anxious to get in on this action. We don't blame him. He
knows where his bread is buttered.
He's my little spoon. I like that. That's what my Steve Rico is. So so next week we'll work on that. Anything else that we need to?
I was thinking maybe a couple notes. One, you can always reach out to us in any of these locations. Reddit is a real popular website these days. I was curious about what people thought of, let us know. Maybe we should have a subreddit, a SmashBoxxTV subreddit that people can reach out to us on. I want to create a page on our website, the SmashBoxxTV website, which I recently gave a little facelift to. You can find it out there. With maybe a form that people can submit if they have ideas like new products or things that they want us to look at. So if they don't want to reach out to us via email, maybe make it anonymous. Not that it matters that much, but just throw it into a spreadsheet so that when people submit ideas for guests or products or reviews or anything for that matter, news. If you have something important going on in your area, let us know. While we're both out of Wisconsin, we really want to, make this. It's a worldwide show. I mean, that's what the internet. Yeah, Iceland. We had our good friend from Iceland out here. So if there's something important going on in your area, let us know, and we can we'll we're not promising it's going to get on the air, but we'll definitely take a look at it. And if we think it's going to bring up better conversation in the disc golf community, we're more than welcome to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Keith, who I know is a big supporter, thank you, Keith, had suggested Miles Parkhill. Miles responsible for our backdrop. Miles responsible for most of the Smashbox, logo, clothing, and so many other things. I'm running a tournament this weekend. Miles, of course, came through for me at the last minute. I've got stuff showing up at UPS tomorrow morning. So big thanks and shout out to Miles. He's a huge supporter of everything that's been Smashbox, and we'd love to have him on the show. He'd be a great guest as well. He can tell you about all the things he has going on. So, that's a no-brainer. So thank you very much. We've got lots of good people that we'll be able to reach out and talk to.
Yeah. And I see Dylan out there asking, where do you play dodgeball? I know that locally there's a place called Helium. It's one of the trampoline parks. I know a lot of them. They're out throughout the country, and they usually have these wonderful dodgeball tournaments or teams that you can get on if you're curious about that. And if you've been to one, I've got a 5-year-old, and if you've been to one of these Helium parks, it's not easy. I'm not young anymore. Bouncing for that long will make you tired. So if you're looking for dodgeball, Brad, take a look at your local trampoline park.
There you go. All right. So next week we will be on Wednesday. That gives you an extra day to digest this podcast, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
like I said, go out, whether or not you watch it live or watch it here on YouTube after the fact. Subscribe as the podcast. We want to see those numbers get bumped up a bit. Whether or not, like I said, I don't care if you listen to it or not on the podcast itself, but let us know how that works for you.
Yeah, and my maybe the parting shot would be, again, if you are interested at all in having any kind of live Smashbox coverage at one of your tournaments next year, whether it's a charity event or an A tier or a C tier or whatever it might be, if you're interested in doing that, please reach out to us as soon as possible. We are kind of working and finalizing our schedule for 2015 already. We are working on a number of the national tour events and so on and so forth. Obviously, you saw me put EMAC on the spot tonight.
That was real nice of you.
That's what I do. But we do want to be at all the the best events, and we've got a good idea of who they are, but we want to work with you, and I know we're going to be working with the PDGA next year.
Yep.
They want to support what we're doing. And, there's a lot of cool things we can do, because we could do live shows, and bring you the live golf. And then maybe at night we could even set up studios such as this.
Yep.
And we could have a nightly recap as well in addition to the live golf during the day. So
yeah. And even if you're not interested in live, or your event maybe can't handle live, there's certain courses and stuff where it's not going to work. We can also do things, such as possibly a live show like this after the fact, or maybe even get the disc golf guy out there for some video blogs, or that guy, or some some round coverage like that, things of that nature. If you want us out there, reach out to us. There's a multitude of things we can do.
Yeah, exactly. So live, and this is a great way to always look at it, live is generally going to be SmashBoxxTV. If you're looking for recorded and then put up a few hours later, then you're looking at the Disc Golf Guy video blogs. But either way, we want to cover your event. You've probably got some big stuff going on, and we want to be part of it.
Definitely.
So with that being said, this is podcast number 3. We're sitting at an hour and 22 minutes, just about where we want to be.
Yeah. We originally said maybe an hour, but I think we're going to have to amend that to an hour and 20 minutes or so.
Somewhere around there.
Our guests are too interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, we have to send another huge shout out. Again, safe travels to Dana and his wife. Thank you very much, Dana, for everything you're doing. We'll look forward to having you next week on Wednesday night. And, of course, again, to our 2010 world champion, Eric McCabe. Eric just doing some amazing things and a true ambassador for the sport. And we're all really...
we're all benefiting from it.
Exactly. So keep doing what you're doing there, EMAC. So for Jonny V and Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this is podcast number 3 here on SmashBoxxTV. We're looking forward to seeing you next week on Wednesday night. And until then, step inside the Smashbox.